Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to the Good Game Nation channel where we bring you everything TCG. My name is Sam, and I'm here with another deck profile. We are here with Starter Croc. Starter Croc had a lot of hype early on in the meta, especially when we had our first couple leaders. People were looking at Croc as a good tempo leader, and that's the kind of deck I have for you today. It's very focused on tempo, and every drop that you play has a large impact and demands a response, and if they don't respond, you're overwhelming them quickly. That is the goal here, and let's get right into it. Croc Leader has an effect that -4 Dawn, and you can send any 5-drop on the board back to their owner's hand. This hits a lot of key blockers. Looking at Queen, I'm looking at mostly Queen, actually. Starter Luffy is another one that you could hit if you're looking to force Red to be cold turns back. Green has some cards as well, like Yamato, but there's a lot of key blockers just below as well, under 4. Croc has a lot of tempo plays like that as well. Things to keep open with, make sure you don't do it too early. If you do it too early, you won't be able to come back down-wise. Your opponent will just have the curve over you. Doing a late game is ideal when you already have 10 mana, because you're going to get 2 of it back next turn anyway, so you'll just be down 2. Keep plays open where you can return your own stuff back. I've returned some things like Perona back just to do it again that same turn. And we'll get right into the list then. Then the first card we're going to look at is Miss All Sunday. She's listed here first. I don't know why she's before Perona. Miss Sunday is a really strong card in this deck. You're able to bounce any of your event cards from your discard pile back to your hand. You're able to spam Desert Spada this way if you were choosing to Spada. This is the reason we're running Love Beam as well. Spoiler alert. Love Beam in very nitty-gritty games where you're down very low on cards, Love Beam will be able to pull you through it, just grabbing an extra card here and there. Miss Sunday has blocker as well. She's one of 7, 8, 12 blockers in this deck. This deck can struggle when your opponent has a lot of aggression and tempo very, very, very early. Decks like Zoro or Law. Miss Sunday will help with those matchups in that sense as well. Perona and Dofi, we could talk about them both at the same time. They are our peepers. They are the reason this deck is as strong as it is. You're able to set your tempo up with your first couple turns, making sure you draw into your 5 drops, into your 7 drops. She's able to push certain cards back. If you're drawing a couple big drops and you needed a low one, you just push the high drops back towards the top of the bottom and put the card you want to draw right on top, so you have that card later on. On top of having Peep, Dofi is also a blocker. These cards are very important to keep the tempo of the deck going. The next card is a group. We're just going to group them all together. We have Sentomaru, the Sentomaru line. We run 8 total Pacifistas, 4 6Ks, and then 4 of the 5K blockers, as well as 3 Kumas. This Kuma is a blocker as well, with the ability to add a Pacifista from your hand to the board. Sentomaru and this line is just a huge tempo play. Turn 2, you play this, and the next turn you're swarming with Pacifista bots. Even if you don't attack with the Sentomaru, which I probably would recommend, especially early, if your opponent has aggression, you're just able to build a ton of board pressure with these Pacifista bots. They are very overwhelming, especially the 6K. Getting 6k on turn 2 or 3 for 3 mana, and then you're also playing something else on top of it, maybe a Dofi or a Miss Sunday, is a huge tempo play. That's the turn that is pretty important for this deck. You don't always hit it, but when you do, it's very hard for your opponent to control. There's not a lot of cards that can remove a 3 and a 4 drop, so your opponent's going to deal with these one at a time. Kuma is another card that I've cut and added back. It's we're running too much Pacifista not to consider Kuma. And again, it adds to the blocker count as well. Kuma has a lot of value in this deck because you don't really want to play your Pacifistas. You want to keep pulling it from Sentomaru from your deck. So when you actually are in your hand, having Kuma is a good way to get them on board as well. Yeah, the next card is going to be the last 4-drop, which will be Mihawk. This Mihawk is the one where you attach Dawn, you attack, it draws 2 cards and discards 2 cards. It's an amazing attacking effect, and he's also a 2K counter. I don't think I'm going to build a blue deck without this card until the next set comes out. It's too good not to be playing. The next ones are our high drops. After we've gone through our mid-game Sentomaru, we start hitting our late drops. This starts with Virgo. Virgo is a 5-drop vanilla 7K. incredible tempo play. If you play this on your turn 3, there's nothing that can really deal with this except another 5-drop 7k. It'll require your opponent to either spend a lot of Dawn to remove it or just avoid it, which works for us. Next one, we're playing a one-off. We're playing Law, the promo Law. This is the one if your opponent has 6 cards in their hand, they add a life, 1 card from their life to their hand. It's a nice little steal. Your opponent likes to build cards in their hand against this deck a lot. So being able to punish them for that is very nice. But your deck doesn't rely on this. It's if you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. It's a nice surprise card, I think. Don't think people expect it. Then a very standard 2 Dofi and 2 Mihawk. This is our response to Kid, like most decks have been running. Again, very strong tempo plays. These both affect the board. Dofi's able to bounce a card. Someone mentioned before that this was very annoying because what if your opponent has only on-play effects? Well, you're able to target your own cards as well. Being able to bounce your Perona. Perona is always the one that I find myself bouncing. Or Mihawk if you happen to have it on board. Just so you keep your tempo board presence and so not plussing your opponent. That's very key as well. And Mihawk adds to the bottom of the deck. Very impressive, very strong. If you get hit, maybe the Kid blocker, that 7-drop, King, a responsive Dofi, things like that. A lot of strong targets you can hit with this Mihawk. It's a must play right now. Character cards that were in this deck, or I tried to put in this deck, the Gecko Moria on play effect. I was thinking about playing it and then having Croc just bounce it back to the same turn. You're able to add a lot of things with that Moria. You can add all the Warlords plus a Perona. That's a lot of targets. It was very a little too aggressive and a little hit or miss. I found the consistency a little bit better with this current set, but that's definitely a card you can try. We also had Law Blocker as well. That's just it was very hard to build the deck without the 1-drop blocker, but I switched it out for the Kuma because it just had too much value with all the pacifistas in hand. Cards you could experiment taking out with would have to be the Sentomaro line. I feel like a lot of the other cards are pretty standard at this point in this Croc build. But the Sentomaro just added too much pressure and too much value to avoid or to take out. Then let's just get down to the extra cards. 4 Spadas. This is a really key synergy with Miss All Sunday, being able to see what's coming next. And the 1 cost 2k counter it's good. 4 Overheats. This is a plus 400, force 4,000. Send a non-active 3 or less costing back to the owner's hand. Again, you're able to target your own stuff, same as Croc. You can bounce your own Peronas back. Don't feel forced to bounce a pesky on-play effect back if you have to. Again, cost 2, 4K plus combo, very good. 2 Level Up Beams. This card was in and out as well, but I found the synergy with All Sunday as well very nice in the very long and gritty games. Being able to just draw a couple extra cards can really actually just win you the game. Then we're playing 2 Sobbles. Again, if we're focusing on tempo, it's very hard to get around a card like Sobbles. They're forced to be set back a whole turn sometimes. I've hit Kings, I've hit Dofis, I've hit the Kid blocker with it as well. Just set your opponent back so far, and you have your whole turn after you play it. It only costs 4. Extra cards that we had tested, I think we just messed with counts. I think these were always the 4 we were playing. I tried a couple more Level Up Beams, I tried a couple more Sobbles, but they're not as consistent as the other 2, so that's the reason those other ones are at 4. If you do not like Level Up Beam, you're probably better off just cutting it for more character cards, maybe the Moria. The extra cards were a little just too situation or too miss, and that's why we're running the counts we're running. Opening card hands, you definitely want to see some form of Peep. You want to see Perona, you want to see Dofi, you want to see Spada. If you have all 3, that's amazing. Bonus points if you see Sentomaru. The game can function without Sentomaru. You can definitely win without him. But if you have him, it's going to be better. Yeah. Sentomaru is very key to the early mid-game, but you can find him with Perona, Dofi, and Spada. You want to send back cards that are expensive, obviously. You don't want to keep your Dofis and Mihawks. You're going to find them with your Peep. So if you have 1 or 2, or just 1 even, if it's just 1 Perona, and you have a 3-drop or a 4-drop, that's a good hand right there. You can keep that one. It'll run into good consistency with that. Matchup things you want to look out for in opposite matchups. Keep in mind if you see red, there's always potential of rush. Don't take early damage. You're gonna want to take it later on. Always play the counters and combos from your hand if you have to prevent early damage, especially from red with a lot of rush. For purple, you want to avoid overswarming. You don't want to lose 3 or 4 cards to a Kaido Bomb. That's something you have to avoid. You absolutely cannot come back from that if you lose 3 or 4 cards, and unless you have a huge hand, I guess. But it's very unlikely that you can come back from a play like that. Green, make sure you just have answers for Kid. Keep your Virgos safe, keep your Adelphis safe. Make sure you have an option to attack into it, because this is probably the one color that you don't have a clear answer for, Kid. So you always have to keep an attacker ready and just some open dawns. That first play that Kid is on the board, he should have no mana available. That's the turn you have to remove Kid. If Kid survives that turn, you're gonna find trouble. And for mirror matches, man, if you can Dofi their Dofi back, you probably just win the game. No. It's Blue's a real technical game, so whoever draws better and who plays out of their peeps better will win. So mastering the peep mechanic is crucial for mirror matches, I would say. And yeah, I think that would do it for me. Let me know in the comments if you're playing a similar deck. Let me know what different decks you're trying. I would love to try out different stuff. Blue is definitely the color I've been assigned, and it's been a ton of fun to play. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. If you like the content and you want to see more One Piece TCG, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.